Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister.
Fellow Singaporeans, good evening. Our economy has shaken off the recession and is now booming. In the first half, our GDP grew by 18% year on year. 1/8. Lots of jobs have been created, unemployment has gone down, Singaporeans can look forward to higher wages and good bonuses. Last year, Singaporeans were very worried about the future. But we've come through the crisis much better and much faster than we expected. Everyone contributed. The unions, the workers, the employers, and the government as well did a little bit. So thank you all for a job well done. While we've come through, we shouldn't forget what has happened. We better learn some lessons from how we managed the downturn. Because despite all our preparations and precautions, sometime, somewhere, something will happen again. And there will be future crises, and we should be ready for them. The NTUC attends the International Labour Organization meeting in Geneva every year in June, ILO. Many unionists have been. And this year, the ILO invited NTUC to share with the other delegates how Singapore coped with a downturn and rebounded so quickly. And their presentation, talking about jobs credit, on the training programs, on the resilience package and so on, generated a lot of interest. The delegates wanted to know, first, how did we pay for it without having to borrow money? And secondly, how did we build the trust and confidence amongst all the key parties, the unions, the employers, the government? And in fact, these two questions point to the root of our advantage and competitiveness. First of all, we built up reserves for a rainy day. So when the rain came, we could fund our programs, Spur and so on, drawing on these reserves with the President's permission, but without needing to borrow. Unlike the Europeans, unlike the Americans, unlike the Japanese, all of which have run up huge deficits, continue to run big deficits, and now face very serious problems. Secondly, we built up our trust over a long period through many shared trials. And each time there was a crisis, we worked together and we became more confident in each other. And therefore, in this crisis, the workers could accept the sacrifices which were necessary because they were confident that the employers would play their part. And both sides were confident and trusted the government to do the right thing and to take measures which would work. So together, the tripartite partners pull Singapore through. The NTUC is often asked to explain how Singapore works, the Singapore way, to other countries. Because other people can see how our system works, they want to understand it, they may be able to understand it, but then they want to be able to do it, and that's not so easy. NTUC once invited a delegation to Singapore from one of our neighboring countries. We had some Singapore Inc. projects there, and we wanted to bring the unions on board. So we explained to them how we did it. And at the end of the visit, the unionists told NTUC, the day my government behaves like the Singapore government, that is the day my union will behave like the NTUC. So I think that will take some time. For this year, our growth forecast is 13 to 15%. It's very, very good, but we cannot expect to grow like this for the long term. And also, if you see this growth in perspective over a longer time frame, it's not quite so spectacular as all that. Let's just take 3 years, 2008, 2009, 2010. 2008, we were plus 1%. 2009, we were minus 1%. 10, if we are lucky, plus 15%. Plus 1, minus 1, plus 15. is plus 15. Divided by 3 to average it out, that means on average we have made over the last 3 years 5% growth. It's not bad, but it's not spectacular as what we thought, and it's a realistic target of what we can sustain. So for the next 10 years, if we can make 3 to 5% growth on average every year, I think we are doing well. So therefore, please be careful with wage expectations and have wage flexibility and bonuses, but remember tomorrow it may rain again. We have to keep growing to generate resources to upgrade our city and improve our lives, and to enable each Singaporean to have a secure job, afford a good standard of living, and get a good future for his children. Therefore, we need to raise productivity. And that's not just a matter for workers working harder. In fact, it's not a matter of working harder, it's working smarter. But workers have to make the effort, employers have to make the effort, and the government also must be productive. So let me give you some examples of what I mean by productivity. First, at the worker level, it means upgrading knowledge, skills, doing wider range of jobs, becoming more valuable to your firms. I give you one concrete example. Mr. Tong Xiang Wee, who is working for a company called Cameron, which makes equipment for the oil and gas industry. He's now in his late 40s. He joined the firm when he was 21 years old, with no school qualifications. Started at the bottom as a trainee fitter, because it's an oil and gas company, so you're working with oil field equipment. But his attitude was, must try, no harm trying. So over the years, he kept learning on the job, attended courses to upgrade himself. And today, his job title is Manufacturing Specialist. And he oversees 70 technicians and 4 production supervisors. And that's what job upgrading and job enlargement means, from doing your own work to being able to watch over many other people's work and make sure that many other people are productive too. Secondly, employers also play a key role, because for the worker to be productive, the employer must create the right business environment, must find the right business opportunities, and then they can develop expertise in this business, create value, and grow a competitive and profitable business, which can hire productive workers. I'll give you one example. Our shipyards, Keppel and Sembcorp Marine. They have developed deep specialist knowledge and skills in their business, which is to make jack-up oil drilling platforms. 2 of them are the market leaders in the world, and together they produce 70% of all the jack-up oil rigs in the world. These are oil rigs which go and drill for oil in very deep waters. Recently, you might have read of a major oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Deepwater Horizon, owned by BP, exploded, sank, caused a major disaster in the sea and all along the Gulf Coast. Millions of barrels of oil were spilled. I was in Houston recently, in Texas, which is near where the spill happened, and I met a Keppel executive there. He was overseeing their plant in Texas at Brownsville. So I asked him, did we build that oil rig which exploded? He said, no, but we built the rig from which they are mounting the rescue operations. And that's a very interesting story, which let me try and explain to you. This is not a class, but just trying to make myself clear. Deepwater Horizon used to be here, drilling for oil here, 18,000 feet below the surface of the sea. It exploded, there was a mishap, sank, oil pouring out. The platform from which they were mounting rescue operations, sending in submersibles, trying to close it off, and doing all the complicated things, Q4000, was made by Keppel. But there are two other platforms in this picture. They're drilling two relief wells from here and from here to try and join up with a borehole deep under the sea so as to do a bottom kill, to seal it off with concrete. You imagine you've got to go all the way down and drill through 18,000 feet and find this right spot and join up just there. Why am I explaining this to you? Because this one is built by Keppel and this one is built by Sembcorp. So let me show you Q4000. This is the rescue platform, and in the background you can see DD3, which is also the Keppel one. It's called Development Driller 3. And on the other side you can see the DD2, the white one. So not bad for a country which has no oil, but we are there. And therefore the two companies pay good bonuses in good years. I hear a rumor that last year they got 9 months. And we get something because several $100 million of taxes to the government. That's productivity. My third example of productivity you may not expect, though many of you will be familiar with it, and that is from the public sector. Because the government also must do the right thing and make sure that it spends money wisely, it spends time wisely, it uses its resources well, and gets results. It's harder to measure government outcomes because it's not always in dollars and cents. But it's still important for us to seek out efficiency gains and to do the best we can. And I give you an example which all the men here should know about. IPPT for NS-men. It used to be a very manual process. PTIs, stopwatches, clipboards, pieces of paper, queuing up, waiting, hurry up and wait. But now it's a highly automated process. If you go to one of these IPPT centers and you do your chin-ups or sit-ups, they got sensors to count the number of chin-ups and sit-ups you complete. So you don't have to argue with a PTI. And then when you run 2.4 click, you carry an RFID in your number. It's like what you do when you run the marathon, and automatically your time is logged. When you cross the finish line, they know. And you get good service too, because with this RFID, the NS-men can go and check their scores and their status at the computer. There you are, he's got his number, the ID is inside here, and he can see his results anytime. Result, saved manpower. Results, NS-men's time saved. And results, also a sense of purpose and efficiency, because then the NS-men can feel that I'm going there, I'm achieving something, I've done it, I'm off. No faffing around, no standing around and waiting. And that's what all government departments must learn to do. Productivity has to be the responsibility of all of us, to keep learning and upgrading, to increase our value and contribution. And that is the way Singapore can stay ahead of the competition, our firms can do well, and all of us can improve our lives.